Hello and welcome to the first lesson of this course, where you'll learn two things: what is JavaScript and how to work with it. Let's begin. JavaScript is a programming language, and if you ever took a computer science class in high school or in college maybe, you might have learned Pascal or C or C++. Well, those are also programming languages. PHP is also a programming language. Now, JavaScript can run locally in your browser, and that's usually what it does, but it can also run on a server using Node.js. Regardless of how you run it, JavaScript is one of the three core technologies used to produce content for the World Wide Web, the other two being, of course, HTML and CSS. Now, every modern browser supports JavaScript. By default, you don't need any plugins to run it. So that makes it a really good choice for adding a little bit of interactivity to your website or your web application. And that's a very quick intro to JavaScript. Now, how exactly do you run it? When it comes to writing and running JavaScript code, you can do it in three different ways. The first way is in the browser console. So I have Firefox here opened, and this right here is the console. And for example, I can type stuff like alert. I can specify a message and hit that, and I get an alert box. Or I can do a console log, something else, a different message, and that will log to my console. So this is a very quick way to check things. For example, check a variable value, maybe debug your code, or do very simple operations. So for example, I can do stuff like 5 plus 4 and it gives me 9. I can do arithmetic operations. I can do Boolean operations. So if I say 1 is higher than 5, it gives me false. All sorts of stuff. The second way is by writing it inline in your HTML document. And first, you can, for example, go to an element and say stuff like on click, for example, and type your JavaScript code. So let's do an alert here and say clicked. Then refresh, and when I hit this, it gives me an alert. Or you can use script tags. So script also adds this type text JavaScript. You can leave it, but it's not necessary. So you can just do script. And then inside you can type your JavaScript code. So for example, console log 10 times 5. And that's going to give us 50 on the console. Finally, the third way of writing and running JavaScript is by using a dedicated JavaScript file. So, for example, I'm going to create a new file here called script.js, and I'm going to do a console log from here that says this is a log from a dedicated JS file. And then we actually have to load that JavaScript file. And we're going to do it in the footer of our document. We're going to say script. We're going to delete this, and we're going to specify a source to script.js. We're not going to type anything inside the script, only setting its src. So now refresh, and we have that log entry. And these are the three methods you can use for writing JavaScript. Now, for the upcoming lessons, go ahead and pick the one that you feel most comfortable with. Personally, I'm not a big fan of the first one because while it is good for quick checks and very simple things, it's not very suitable for large blocks of code. Instead, I'll be using the second and the third, depending on the lesson. In the next lesson, you'll learn everything there is to know about variables. I'll see you there.